Now we're live. Yeah. Let me turn this to you.
Oh, okay. This morning we have the pleasure of having Atira Zeoli teach us again this morning about the practice of Tonglen and the teaching that comes before that. It's kind of a bonus morning. Originally, we thought Khenpo was going to be back from retreat, but he's still on retreat in New York. And so Atira has stepped forward and prepared something special for us today. And so thank you all for coming, and I guess we'll get started.
Yeah. Let me pull up the 7-line prayer. Okay, ready for you, Khenpo.
We'll do the first prayer 3 times.
Yogi Num Jansam Memage Sardompola Yatsen Chogi Modrubne Memajone Jesura Porukandro Mangpogor Yetki Jesu Dagdrupi Jinjilok Chir Shek Suso Guru Pema Siddhi Om Organ Yogi Num Jansam Pemage Sardompola Yatsen Jogi Nodrubne Pema Jone Jesudra Ordukandro Mangpogor Yetki Jesu Dagdrupi Jinjilok Chir Shek Suso Guru Pema Siddhi Om Organ Yogi Num Jansam Pemage Sardompola Yatsen Jogi Nodrubne Pema Jone Jesudra Ordukandro Mangpogor Yetki Jesu Dagdruki Jinjilok Chir Shek Suso Guru Pema Siddhi Om. All right, well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here today. So this is the surprise 7th class in this 6-class series. So this series is on the practice of Tonglen, also known as the practice of sending and receiving, or the practice of exchanging oneself with others. And in this practice, we visualize taking on the sufferings of all sentient beings, as well as the causes of their suffering, such as anger and greed and ignorance, and sending them our happiness, as well as the causes of happiness, our good qualities of patience, generosity, compassion, and so forth. This practice diminishes our self-cherishing and deepens our compassion and loving kindness, and it also develops bodhicitta, the awakened mind that is the union of wisdom and compassion. Bodhicitta is the aspiration to attain enlightenment for the benefit of others. So throughout this series, we've tried 7 different Tonglen variations, tried a bunch of different ways of doing this practice. We tried the classic version, where as we inhale, we take in the sufferings of all beings as a dark mass, and as we exhale, we send them all our happiness and good qualities as radiant pure light, or as nectar. So that's like the classic version. And then we also tried a bunch of these other variations. We tried visualizing our heart as a brilliant ball of light, radiating happiness to all beings and absorbing their sufferings, visualizing ourselves as a wish-fulfilling jewel, imagining multiplying ourselves into infinite forms of ourselves to go to all 6 realms and take on the sufferings of beings and give them our happiness. We imagined our body transforming into food and clothes and shelter to meet the needs of beings, and visualized giving our flesh, blood, bones, and skin as an offering to satisfy harmful spirits. So there's all these different practices of Tonglen that we can do, and they're the same practice of, even though they change so much in the details of the visualization, it's the same practice of taking on the sufferings of others and sending them our happiness. And believe it or not, there are still more versions of this practice to try. So, so we'll get to try yet another version of this practice. This book that I'm drawing from, The Heart of Compassion, it happened to have a 7th version of Tonglen in the relative bodhicitta. So, had one up my sleeve for this class. It's very different than the others. We'll see. So in this Tonglen practice of sending beings our happiness and taking on their sufferings, we're almost like a cosmic Roomba, like hoovering up all the suffering of the world without worrying about who it belongs to. You know, just sucking up all the dirt and crumbs and loose Lego pieces that someone might step on in the middle of the night. We just suck it all up and we don't worry about whose it is. Whether I have anger or you have anger or someone else has anger, the existence of anger in the world brings suffering to us all. One angry thought or word can bring conflict, division, and pain that ripples throughout the world. We would all be happier if there was less anger and divisiveness in this world. But our tendency is to create this, our tendency, and this is where our anger comes from, our tendency is to create this divide of self and others. I'm me, you're you. These are my problems, and those are your problems. But in fact, all of our problems come from the same source: believing in an inherently existing self. The self you cherish is an illusion. It's a label that you have applied to an ever-changing constellation of concepts and attachments to your body, speech, and mind. And if you look for the I, you can't find anything permanent. Where is the I? Is it in your brain? Is it in your blood cells? Is it in your bones? If we look for this self, where is it? I mean, think of all of the things that you've stuck together to create this idea of you. You've got your nose that maybe looks like your dad's, or your winning smile, and your thoughts and memories and relationships and life experiences. And if you take that collection of attributes apart and look at any one of them on their own, you'd say, well, no, that's not me. I'm not my nose. I'm not my front teeth. I'm not my voice, or I'm not my fondness for dark chocolate, or my trivia skills. Like, I'm not any one of those. I'm the collection of all of these things, of all of my combined experiences and relationships, and the 30 trillion cells of my body or whatever, and 38 trillion bacterial cells. You know, we have more bacterial cells in our body than actual human cells. Yeah. And your body replaces 300 30 billion cells a day. That was a statistic I read last night. But you think you're so solid. You think that's you. And we also think that we can hold on to these things. But like, to use as a celebrity for an example, like let's say Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is a movie star. He's got a great smile. He's really great at running. He does his own stunts. Like he's a father. He's a Scientologist. There's these things that make up Tom Cruise, right? And his idea of himself and our idea of him. And in Tom Cruise's next life, is he going to have that smile? No. Is he going to be a man? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. Is he going to be human? We don't know. Will he be a movie star? Probably not. But we don't know. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that he's going to be any of these things. There's no guarantee that he would be born into a world where Scientology would exist. And right now he probably defines his existence related to that religion. But wherever he's reborn, who knows if Scientology will be a thing? Would he be himself if he didn't have that smile and his beliefs and his actor self, his movie star self? And what if he didn't have legs and he couldn't run? What if, will he be a father or not? We don't know. These things that make up Tom Cruise, is he going to have any of them in his next life? And if not, who is he? Who's there? It's the same as how a flower is not just its petals or its pistil or its sepals or its stamen. It's the collection of all of these parts. If your boyfriend gave you a basket of rose petals, you wouldn't say that he had bought you flowers. They're different, right? What we call a flower is an assembly of these different parts, and each assembled component in turn depends on several layers of assembly. So each of those rose petals is made up of a whole bunch of atoms, right? Like it's all assembled. All form, including our body and all of our emotions and all of our perceptions, are assembled. They are the product of two or more things coming together. When two or more components come together, a new phenomenon emerges. Wooden nails become a table. Water and leaves become tea. A seed, soil, water, and light could become a juicy peach. The table, the tea, and the peach don't have an existence independent of their parts. Meanwhile, just by meeting, the character of those parts has changed, and together they've become something else. They are compounded. And the Buddha taught that all compounded things are impermanent. Everything that exists is compounded and therefore interdependent. And so it's subject to change. This includes all matter, the entire world, the universe, as well as the mind, time, memory, every single thing. Every single thing is compounded. There is nothing in all creation that exists as an autonomous, permanent, pure state. As long as something exists within reach of our mind, even in our imagination, then it depends on the existence of something else. And because it depends on the existence of something else, it can change. I feel like a constellation is such a good example of this, because like when you look up in the night sky, you see Orion and you think, you're like, oh, look, there's this man in the sky. Here's Orion, and there's his sword and his belt. whatever. But those stars that make up Orion are like billions of miles away from each other. They have nothing to do with each other. It's just our particular perspective in space, and then our concepts looking at it and drawing a shape and giving a label to it. And if you go out in space and you look at it from another direction, you won't see that shape because these stars are completely different parts of space. If there are aliens and other planets, they have entirely different constellations, you know? So this act of assembly is by nature bound by time. It has a beginning and a middle and an end. This glass here did not exist before, and it appears to exist now, and eventually it will not exist again in the future. Eventually this will fall apart. A rainbow in the sky did not exist before. But when the sun hits the rain just right, it appears to exist for a time, and then eventually the sun moves or the rain stops and the rainbow comes apart. Similarly, the self that existed yesterday is different from the self that exists today. Our existence seems continuous, but it's actually a series of beginnings and endings bound by time. It's kind of like a pearl necklace. It's like we have all these different instances, but we just see it as like a one necklace. We don't see that it's made up of individual pearls. You are so attached to this idea of an inherently existing self. This belief guides everything you do. But in actuality, the self you cherish is an illusion. It's just a label. You stuck a name tag to a rainbow. As long as we have this belief in an inherently existing self, we are ignorant to the true nature of reality, and we will suffer from pain, creating karma, and taking rebirths. All sentient beings suffer in this way. As Chenrezig said, first with the thought, I am, they cling to a self. Then with the thought, mine, they become attached to things. Like buckets on a water wheel, they turn without control. I bow to the compassion that cares for such suffering beings. If we didn't have this belief in a self, then anger, desire, fear, and the other negative emotions could no longer arise. If we could overcome the belief in a truly existing self today, we would be enlightened today. So whatever practice we do, we should use it to dissolve this idea of I and the self-serving motivations that inevitably come with it. The result of Buddhist practice is not that you gain or obtain something that you didn't have before. The result of Buddhist practice is defined by elimination. We already have the Buddha nature. All beings have the Buddha nature. All we have to do is eliminate everything that's obscuring it. And this is what our lamas are always trying to help us to do. If you have the good fortune to find your guru in this life and you listen to them with faith and apply the teachings, They will help you to free yourself from samsara. Notice I said free yourself from samsara. They don't free you, you free yourself. They just help you. This is a path of personal responsibility, and we have to do the work ourselves. It's not enough to just say, I believe in you, and then like lay there like a dead fish and just like hope for the best. Like we do the work. They show us the path and we walk it. But if we listen to them with faith and we apply the teachings, they will help you free yourself from samsara, skillfully dismantling your precious concept of an inherently existing self. Sometimes when our Lama asks us to change, we think it means that they don't love us. We say, this is who I am. This is my personality. This is the way I like to do things. And if you loved me, you'd accept me the way I am. Right? That's how we talk to our romantic partners or our parents. Like we think like that. You should just accept me. This is the way I am. You should accept me like this. If you loved me, you would accept me the way I am. The whole job of the Lama is to not accept you the way you are. That's the whole point, and to teach you not to accept this like just bag of meat and bones and obscured emotions. Like this is not you. That's the whole point, is to not let you settle for this. We're so much more than this. In our relationship with our guru, we are like a little baby or a toddler in the care of a loving parent. Babies and toddlers have the same drive for autonomy that we do now, and sometimes they resist the next step in growing up, whether that's transitioning to solid food or potty training or sleeping in their own bed. The kid might feel like, no, you can't make me. I'm the kind of guy that poops in a diaper. You can't make me go in the toilet, you know? I really will say this. I think I've literally heard this phrase. I'm the kind of guy that poops in a diaper. I think my son said that to me one day. So it sounds ridiculous, but this is exactly how we are. And I don't mean to, like maybe we're attached to American flags or Ivy League educations or Burning Man concerts, or our career as a school teacher or a stockbroker or a soccer player. Maybe that's what we're attached to. We're a guy who plays soccer or whatever, like that's our thing, that's how we're identifying ourselves. But it's the same thing. And I don't mean to invalidate how difficult it is to have these attachments challenged. I think, don't underestimate how difficult it is for toddlers to make this transition to like potty training, for instance. Like I found out it is very common for toddlers, and I'm sorry to get gross here, but it's very common when toddlers are learning to switch from diapers to using the potty. The feeling of the poop coming out and falling out of them into the toilet, they often think that they are losing a limb. And it scares the living daylights out of them. They get so scared. They think there is an arm falling out of them or something. And they don't understand that they're not losing anything. That's not part of them. But that's really how that's, they don't understand what's going on. They don't understand this yet. And that's how we are. We don't understand this yet. We don't understand that all of these things we think we're losing, we're not losing. They're not part of us. They're not us. So when you're potty training your kid, you hear the kid's protests, but you're not swayed because you know that your child is not defined by their diaper. There's so much more than that. And in order to go to preschool and continue on their journey of growing up and being in the world, they will need to get over this attachment to their diapers and learn how to use the potty. That is what they need to do in order to keep growing, right? In order to keep growing and changing and being in the world. They want to grow up and be whoever they want to be. So when the guru is asking us to change, she's not rejecting the core of who we are. It's you who are rejecting the core of who you are by defining yourself in this limited, ordinary way as a real diaper-wearing guy, instead of recognizing the brilliance of your own Buddha nature buried beneath your habits. Dzongtse Khyentse Rinpoche says, a Vajrayana practitioner's three most important qualities are mind, Buddha nature, and emotional defilements. So a pebble cannot be a Vajrayana student. You need to have a mind. Do all of you have a mind? Yes? Great. To follow the Vajrayana path, you also must have Buddha nature. Do you have Buddha nature? Yes. Believe it or not, you do. Even if sometimes you feel like you can't, difficulty recognizing that, you do. And do you have emotional defilements such as anxiety, fear, anger, desire, or jealousy? Do you have those? Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Great. Me too. Okay, so we're off to a good start here. This is really good. We're off to a good start. And are your emotional defilements temporary and removable? Yeah. How do we know that? Because like all things, they are compounded and therefore impermanent. So that means we can change them. Dzongtse Khyentse Rinpoche says, what do you need defilements for? If there are no defilements, there is no path. What is the point of washing a cup if it isn't dirty? So the emotional defilements, or obscuring emotions, are aggression, desire, ignorance, pride, and jealousy. And the six realms arise as a reflection of these states of mind. The hell realms arise as a reflection of extreme anger, hatred, and cruelty. Beings in the hungry ghost realm are tormented by hunger and thirst as a result of harmful actions motivated by desire. Beings in the animal realm suffer from being hunted and domesticated and enslaved and not having the ability to transform the conditions that produce their suffering. And this is a result of harmful actions motivated by ignorance. The jealous God realm is a projection of extreme competitiveness, covetousness, and continuous warfare. Birth in this realm results from virtuous actions motivated by rivalry or jealousy, like when you try to prove that you're a better Buddhist than someone else by doing something nice for someone. The cause of being born as a long-lived God is committing positive actions tainted by attachment instead of with bodhicitta. And then there are a mixture of defilements that produce rebirth in the human realm. The most prominent of them is desire. And we can see all of these realms in the human realm as well. And I went into this a lot in previous class. So I'm not going to talk a lot about it right now, but we know that if we are experiencing anger, we're not happy. We're not happy when we're angry. And then when you're angry, then in our realm, that can create feelings of like extreme hot and cold in this realm, and feelings of being uncomfortable in your environment, never feeling at ease. And anger leads to paranoia, because anger comes from the sense of like this distinct sense of self and other. And it's this separate, rigid thing. So angry people become very fearful and paranoid too. That's what that leads to. And if we are, if we're full of desire, well, if you don't have what you want, then you're not happy. If you're in a state of desire, you are wanting something you don't have, or I'm not happy without this thing. You're not in a state of happiness. And then when we get what we want, if we get everything that we desire, then we lose our motivation for Dharma practice. Our life becomes very easy, and we lose our motivation to exit samsara, and to help other beings. We become complacent. So if we don't get our desires, we're unhappy. And if we do get our desires, we also will be unhappy because we won't do anything to exit samsara. And they'll be temporary. And if we achieve any of our desires, they'll only bring us temporary happiness. And then, we're finished with our lovely meal and it's just a memory. Our favorite pair of jeans gets a hole in it, falls apart. Everything, the car we, saved up money for gets into an accident and is totaled, or it just, reaches the end of its life, whatever. It's all temporary. So it all comes with suffering. And if we're ignorant in this life, that just means that we don't know how to produce the causes of happiness. We don't know how to avoid suffering and cause happiness. And that certainly is the large part of our existence. And it means that we unwittingly sow seeds for future suffering because we don't know any better. And we're just motivated by this illusion of self. And then, if we're jealous, same thing. You're not happy. You're not happy if you're experiencing any of these. And if you're attached, it's going to keep you in samsara. Any of these we're never in a state of happiness. If you think of the way, like when you're really attached to something, the way your mind is inflamed and it's rigid and it's tight and you really want this thing, you're not happy. Any of these emotions, we're not happy when we're experiencing them, and they do not cause us happiness in the future. As long as we foster these emotions, we will continue to produce suffering after suffering for ourselves and others, keeping ourselves trapped in cyclic existence or samsara. Lama Yeshe says that we should think that if you are not liberated from samsara, if you are still in samsara, having all the delusions, then you can't liberate others. Like a person without any arms can't help others from falling down a precipice, can't pull them up. If you are drowning, then you can't help others who are drowning or who are stuck in this quagmire. Therefore, you need to be free from delusions, karma, and all wrong concepts. And Dogo Kensei Rinpoche says, if you allow the negative emotions to express themselves in the ordinary way, you cannot hope to progress on the path. If you do not skillfully deal with them, either by getting rid of them or pacifying them, they will lead to the boundless suffering of the lower realms. And when Yeshe Sogyo asked Guru Rinpoche, who is the worst enemy? He said, obscuring emotions. So overcoming these obscuring emotions will allow you to progress on the path to Buddhahood. The Buddha has given many methods for working with our obscuring emotions. And one of these practices is the practice of Tonglen, or sending and receiving, the exchange of self and others. And in this method, we work with them through compassion. So sometimes we work with them through like analysis. And sometimes we work with them, we have different ways of working with them, through like analysis or through like a view of emptiness. In this way, we work with them through compassion. So this is where we get to try our new Tonglen meditation. It's very different from the ones we did before. It's a lot simpler and it's a lot shorter. I mean, you can do it for as long as you want, but today it's going to be pretty short compared to the last classes. If you need to move your body at all to get comfortable, you can do that now. And then we'll sit in our meditation posture, which is to have a straight back and a relaxed body. That's what's most important. So you also want to have a stable base, however you're sitting. So if you're sitting on your cushion or on a chair, just make sure you're sitting in a way that you feel stable on your seat. So we'll take desire as our example today. Desire is the compulsive attraction and attachment we feel toward a person or an object. Start by considering that if you tame your own desire, you will be able to reach enlightenment in order to best help beings and to establish them all in Buddhahood. So just contemplate that for a few minutes. If you tame your own desire, you'll be able to reach enlightenment in order to best help beings and establish them all in Buddhahood. Now, think about someone that you don't like, and arousing great compassion for that person. Add all of his desires to your own, and think that as you take them, he becomes free of them. And then progressively take all beings' desires, whether manifest or latent, upon yourself. And as you do, think that all beings become free from desire and achieve enlightenment. So this is how to meditate on taking negative emotions according to relative truth. You can also do this practice of taking negative emotion, working with negative emotions in Tonglen according to absolute truth. Dogo Kensei Rinpoche says, to meditate according to absolute truth, arouse in yourself, and we're not going to do this, I'm just going to tell you about it. If you want to do this later on your own, you can. Just letting you know for the future. He says, to meditate according to absolute truth, arouse in yourself an overwhelming feeling of desire. Fuel it by adding the desires of all beings to make a great mountain of desire. Then look right into it. You will see that desire is nothing but thoughts. It appears in your mind, but does not itself have even the tiniest particle of independent existence. And when you turn the mind inward to look at itself, you become aware that the mind, too, is without any inherent existence in either past, present, or future. The nature of mind is as insubstantial as the sky. So you can use these methods of either with taking negative emotions according to relative truth or according to absolute truth. You can use these methods to meditate on anger, pride, jealousy, ignorance, and anything else that obscures the mind. As Shantideva says in The Way of the Bodhisattva, cross the sea of emotions on the boat of human existence. So I hope you'll use your human existence to do that. And that's all we have for today. So, so then at the end of our class, we do this meditation on Chenrezig, just Chenrezig practice. This is also a practice of compassion. And the first part, this first prayer that we say, the 7-line prayer to Guru Rinpoche, is to Guru Rinpoche right here, who's the statue in the center. It's represented by the statue in the center here. So we pray to Guru Rinpoche first, and Guru Rinpoche is the embodiment of all of the Buddhas. And then we go into the Chenrezig visualization and praise. And so where it says visualization and praise, and then while we're reciting the mantra, we visualize Chenrezig here on the front, 1,000-armed Chenrezig with so many eyes and so many hands, so he can see and help all of the stuff, he can see the sufferings of all sentient beings and is there to help all beings. So we pray to accomplish that state of Chenrezig, of being so helpful to all beings. If you're online, the link is in the description of the video, the link to the practice. All right, we could do it one time. That's fine. Yatsen chogi ngodrupne Pema jone jesudra Bordu kondro mangpopur Ketki jesudak druki Jinjilok chir sheksu so Guru Pema Siddhi Om Ahom Pensa Guru Pema Siddhi Om.
We'll switch to English.
Your 1,000 arms are the 1,000 universal monarchs. Your 1,000 eyes, the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate age. You who teach each and every one of us according to our needs. Lord Avalokiteshvara, to you I pay homage.
And our mantras, Om Mani Padme Hum Kri.
Om Mani Padme Hum Kri. Om Mani Padme Hum Kri. Om Mani Padme Hum Kri. Om Mani Padme Hum Kri. Om Mani Padme Hum Kri.
Then the dedications at the back page.
By this virtue, may I swiftly accomplish the state of Chenrezig, and may all sentient beings without exception be placed in that very state. By this effort, may all sentient beings be free of suffering. May their minds be filled with the nectar of virtue. In this way, may all causes resulting in suffering be extinguished, and only the light of compassion shine throughout all realms. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Thanks.
Thank you for class 7.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Atira, for another excellent class. Today at 1 o'clock, there'll be drumming across the street. So everyone is invited to come to that. And if you don't have a musical instrument on you, there'll be plenty there. You can have your pick, something to bang on and join in. So I invite you to do that. And it's traditional always to make an offering when you receive a Dharma teaching. So we have baskets out here for you to do that. And what am I not thinking of?
Volunteer doing.
Volunteer later today, 2 to 4.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. I mean, I sort of missed that memo. Okay, so there's a volunteer day today from 2 to 4 at the Guru Rinpoche statue. So come to that too and be part of the activity.
And then from 4 to 5, refreshments at the koi pond.
Thank you, Dharma. Please come. And if you didn't hear that, there'll be refreshments at the koi pond, which is absolutely beautiful, from 4 to 5. So make a day of it. Okay.
Thank you.